You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. All right, Brian Kelly's going to meet with reporters after practice this evening. My guess is he will be asked about Harold Perkins. It's something we talked about yesterday here on the show. If you weren't here, he was asked specifically about Whit Weeks and sort of indirectly, I believe, started talking about Harold Perkins in that he said, look, Whit Weeks can't be a part of a platoon anymore. He can't come off the field. He's got to be on the field every snap. He's been their best defender. So do you move Perkins? I believe that's what Kelly was hinting at. I think that's something we're going to see. I'm also most intrigued in this game at the line of scrimmage. We've talked about it a little bit here throughout the week. South Carolina, 10 sacks through 2 games. They've got 2 terrific edge rushers, a transfer from Georgia Tech and a true freshman. And then we know LSU's offensive tackles are as good as any in the country as a tandem. So keeping Garrett Nussmeier upright is massive. On the flip side, of course, South Carolina doesn't throw the ball exceptionally well. They've got Rocket Sanders. They've got Lenora Sellers, a 6'3", 240-pound defensive or quarterback. So LSU's defensive front, stopping the run, is going to be a big part of this game. So the line of scrimmage, and especially if it rains, this is going to be a line of scrimmage game. I think that almost goes without saying. Paris Shand is one of the guys who we might see with a little more versatility. Remember, when Brian Kelly on Monday met with reporters, and this was when he confirmed the news about Jacobian Guillory, and then he was asked sort of how you replace those reps. He did give one name in particular.
As I mentioned, Sean Washington picked up most of those snaps on Saturday. Sean wasn't scheduled to play. When Guillory went out, Sean picked him up and played it very, very well. So he's going to be the first guy that picks up a piece of those. And then we're going to have to make a decision. Do we activate, McKinley, Don McKinley? Do we get him moving a little bit more? Do we move somebody down inside that's a defensive end that can help us? We're probably talking about 15 to 20 more reps that are needed inside. Once Sean is able to do the things that he did on Saturday, that helps us a lot now in trying to find another 15, 20 reps.
Okay, so 15 to 20 reps is what they're looking for, with Washington taking a bulk of the reps from Guillory. 2 things that Kelly mentioned there specifically. One was deactivate Don McKinley, of course, the 5-star freshman, and the other was do you kick an end inside? Now, the guy that's the most obvious choice to do that, because we've seen him do it in his 2 years in Baton Rouge, is Paris Shand. Of course, the Arizona transfer. He's wearing number 0 now. He is a defensive end by trade, but we saw him a year ago, and we've seen him this year kick down inside. Yes, some of it's in those pass rush packages. You hear Blake Baker refer to as prowler package, where a guy like Shand and Savion Jones kick down to the inside. And you've got Womack and Swinson on the outside. Perkins steps up to the line of scrimmage. You got Whit Weeks in the middle. That's that prowler package that Baker's talking about. But outside of just that, we've seen instances where when they're trying to get edge rushers on the field last year, and this year Shand kicks inside. Well, Paris Shand met with reporters earlier this week and was asked kind of about that, about is he someone who might be a candidate to kick inside from defensive end to play tackle?
Yeah, I'm confident about playing anywhere on the line. I know everything play-wise. I know everything technique-wise, so I feel confident playing outside, inside, nose, 3, and.
Nose, 3, and so 0 technique nose, 3 technique defensive tackle in the gap, playing defensive end. Remember, he also is he has this rare build in the fact that he's 6'4", 275. So typically if you want to nose, you're talking about someone that's going to be more than 300 pounds. So he's a little light there. But at 275, he's plenty big enough to kick inside and to compete, especially when you're as strong as he is. The other part of it as well, remember, Paris Shand is a senior who started his career at Arizona. So he played 3 years at Arizona, now in his second season at LSU. He's in his 5th year of college. And he's also an older player as well, coming from Canada into college. So this is a guy that you're from Canada, then went and prepped in Connecticut when we started playing American football, then went to Arizona. And so anyway, this is a guy who is, when you're talking about these fifth-year guys, you're talking about 22 and 23-year-old men. It is easier, not only because they're more physically developed, he's got the size, but he's also played in a ton of football games. Y'all, Paris Shand in his career has played in a total of 39 games over his 5 seasons. 4 as a freshman in the COVID year, 11 in 2021, 9 in 2022, played in every game last year for LSU, and now has played in both games this year. So this is a guy, by the time his career is done, is going to have played in more than 40 college football games. So Paris Shand kicking inside, I think, especially when you think about the context of what Brian Kelly's saying when he says we need 15 to 20 reps. Where do you get them? Well, Paris Shand can give you reps inside. The other thing Paris Shand was asked about, was Dom McKinley. Brian Kelly mentioned Dominic McKinley specifically, and we all know that. I mean, he's 6'6", 315, he's a 5-star from Acadiana, had been committed to A&M. LSU flipped him, number 1 player in Louisiana. And when you go out there, the most incredible thing about Dom McKinley, watching him in fall camp, was there were times when the offensive and defensive linemen were lined up by each other, and I remember Dom McKinley standing next to Emory Jones, and Dom McKinley's a head taller than Emory Jones, which is crazy. You're talking about a guy that's going to be a first-round pick, and this freshman walks in, he's a head taller. So physically, he looks the part, but there's a lot of development, and Paris Shand knows it's in there.
I think he's destined to be a monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has it. He just needs to hone his skills and really do what needs to be done. But I think he has it, and stepping up will help him a lot get to where he needs to be.
I have referenced this a couple times this week, and it's the 2014 season when Freak Johnson, Ego Ferguson left early. Your most veteran defensive tackle was Christian Lockature. And then you had to play true freshman Devon Gottschall. And he ended up starting for you as a true freshman at tackle. And obviously became a really good player. And there were growing pains. But you got a really talented guy on the field early in his career, and he kept getting better. And maybe not asking Dom McKinley to be a starter, but like, can you give this defense 5 reps? Like 5 full, all-out reps. And can Shand give you another 5 inside? Or maybe those guys are 10 each, and the brunt of the bulk of the reps are coming from Sean Washington. Either way, I think those are the guys that you're going to spot shadow and spotlight this weekend against South Carolina. Because the challenge this week is very different from the challenge the last 2 weeks. Of course, Southern Cal, Lincoln Riley, we're going to spread you out and throw it. Last week with Nichols, yes, they ran the ball a lot, but you saw a lot of single wing. You saw a lot of creativity in the run game with how they function offensively. This is going to be different with a big 240-pound quarterback and a former All-SEC running back in Rocket Sanders. You're going to have to be strong in that defensive front 7. Yes, that's going to be a big part of it being linebacker play, but filling this gap for Jacobian Guillory is going to be a massive part of it as well. And maybe Paris Shand, Dom McKinley, guys, we keep an eye on this weekend. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.